Well, hello, and welcome to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. And this is kind of a special episode because, well, it's on a Wednesday. Don't normally do that. In fact, I don't think I really ever do that, except maybe the first episode. We generally don't do non-Monday episodes, but had a few problems last Monday and, well, some problems before that. So it's been kind of crazy. Some of it relating to time, trying to make everything work in a crazy schedule from travel and work to also just some technical glitches that have plagued us. Both Alicia and myself. So it's been a bit of a headache, but I wanted to go ahead and at least show what fairs are happening this weekend, explain what's been going on a little bit, and also essentially do a test recording. Just a test stream, just to make sure that we are good. No pressure, right? And, well, hey, I see Jan and Damaris are there. Oh, I like that. Hopefully Wednesday's show won't be full of woe. That's, wow. I'm going to steal that. That is very funny. And Kathy, hey, great to see you there on YouTube. But yeah, it was a bit nuts, to say the least, about, the last several weeks, really. So many different weird issues. I guess, the main weird thing first is that, several weeks ago I was at New Jersey for almost a month, and I tried to do a few streams from there, and we ran into some problems. But for those of you that saw it, let's see. The first time I did it, the YouTube stream cut out halfway through or so. But Facebook was fine. So I thought, okay, we're close. I'll just lower the bitrate a bit next week, and we'll probably be good. So next week, with a lowered bitrate, YouTube worked, but Facebook cut out. So I started to realize, well, it's not Facebook's or YouTube's fault. It's just the internet service provider I was using where I was staying. Great download speed, horrible upload speed, and very inconsistent, not very stable long term, and it's a constant problem. So yeah, that's something I'm looking at. I do have a few ideas, and yeah, that's right. Jan, yeah, because Jan went to Ireland with several people I know, so it's a tough life. Got to go to Ireland. And yeah, I know. Don't worry. Yeah, that's perfectly understandable that Alicia was out of the country too, and also was busy at fairs and not necessarily great internet situations. I've been looking at that, and here's what I've come up with. What I'm thinking of doing is, well, I'm in the market for a new laptop, and yes, before you say, Happy Prime Day and Prime Week and Black Friday in July, Walmart Plus, Target Circle Day. I mean, whatever. It's I know all the sales are going on, and I am looking out there for a new laptop to see what will work. But essentially, what I'm thinking of is doing a very low bit rate, optimized stream from my laptop, not straight to Facebook or YouTube, but to a server I set up here, where I know there's really great internet connections and stability, thanks to Google Fiber. So I'll stream maybe a 1.5 megabit, really optimized stream using the AV1 codec. Worst case scenario, X265, that you can't normally use for Facebook or YouTube, but it'll go to the server, and the server in real time will convert it to whatever format needs to go to Facebook and YouTube and send it directly from there. So that'll act as my kind of restream server that I'll set up myself, and we should be good. I know that's very technical, and most of you probably don't care about that, but the gist is I should be able to get away with streaming even if I just use my phone for the internet connection. So yeah, in the future, the plan is we might get some shows from the side of the road sometimes, the inside the car parked live stream, or it also opens the door for some potential live streams from Alicia, wherever she is. So, I mean, there's some cool possibilities here because it can work off a very low bit rate and still stream out in decent quality to wherever, possibly even great quality, depending on what setup you have computer-wise. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. That's kind of the gist there. Now, New Jersey, I had a great time in New Jersey. It was some really great people there. I know when you're in New York, I mean, they make fun of New Jersey, and New Jersey, they make fun of New York. It's a standard thing. But in there where I was more in southern Jersey, really great people. It's more like a farming community, and they had the New Jersey Ren Fair over in the, they moved it a couple of times, and it was really crazy to try to make it happen, but they made it happen there at the county fairgrounds, and it actually worked out really well. So I think they're going to keep having it at those county fairgrounds for the foreseeable future, because it has a good infrastructure and a way easy access, and you can grow with it. And yeah, I think they've already asked me back next year, so I'm probably going to be back at New Jersey next year for the full run there. So that should be fun. And just, I had a lot of fun. The weird thing was they were all complaining because the temperature got up to, it got up just over 80 degrees. And they were nervous about that. I know. I mean, I'm down here in Austin where it's was like 105 earlier today, and 82 sounds like a dream. So yeah, I would be okay being in New Jersey with 82 degrees right now. Not gonna lie. Bard's Gone Wild, excellent plan. I don't think I'm gonna call it that because I don't think the search results will be what I want them to be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. And hopefully, Alicia, that we can do with every internet connection. We haven't talked much about this yet, Alicia, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just so we're just having a meeting right now. Yeah, just gonna go ahead and have a meeting on the live stream. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think that if you want to do some live streams or do some things in the not too distant future, I think I'll have a great way to do it, even with a low bit rate, that you can set it up to stream to wherever you want. I mean, yeah, Twitch or whatever. I mean, it's not going to be a problem. And yeah, I think it'll work out really well. Well, yeah, the 90s. Ooh, still a dream, because, yeah, that's nice. And I think I'm going to look at trying to see if I can get a few weekends in Kentucky on the way back from Jersey next year, because, yeah, that is definitely nicer weather. Not going to lie. When I show you the map later, you'll see what I mean about where there are not any fairs in the Deep South. No, too hot. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Not at all. Not at all. And hello, Brittany. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is our special show on Wednesday as opposed to Monday, and hopefully you don't mind. But I just wanted to make sure that we were good to go and everything was set up. Another interesting twist is that, I had so many problems with the last several weeks trying to get everything going, not just with timing and scheduling, but some updates to OBS, which caused a few issues, browser updates, which caused issues. I actually have a dedicated browser I use specifically for YouTube and Facebook for streaming. That's all it does. I don't run anything else in there. And it updated right before I was going to go live on Monday, and Facebook wouldn't let me log in. And I was kind of like, what? what's going on? So finally, we got that settled where I had to go through and reset password up and log out of all my devices and set up all this stuff. But it took 15, 20 minutes. And when it was finally done, it was kind of like, it's too late now. People have already moved on. I won't mess with the show tonight, but I wanted to at least do something so that at least as a test and to kind of make sure everything was working and show you what fairs are coming up at least. But yeah, also I take down everything, or at least a lot of the lights and everything with me on the road when I go, and setting all that back up is a bit of a chore sometimes. So I'm thinking I might try to have duplicates where I have my travel pack for streaming and my pack here, so there's no, or at least very little that I have to take down and set back up. So I'm thinking that's a good idea. So that's on my list too. So yeah, a few things, the happy stuff. Wow. Yeah. Okay. They're talking about great weather and everything. And yes, you're right, Brittany, a blessing and a curse. And, some of it is just logistics, figuring out how to do this on the road. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I really got a lot of my setup figured out during COVID when I was here and not going on the road. So when that happened, it's been a gradual experience where, okay, let's see how we can make this work. And if I have a great internet connection where I'm staying, which I kind of did before, wasn't a problem. But I'm running into those problems where I don't have a great internet connection. And but I think if I can get my bitrate down to about 1.5 megabits and still have it look good at 1080p, I can do a restream through my server and it'll work fine. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. So, yeah, no signal at all at Sterling. Well, I mean, that's going to be the question. I mean, how to do this now? I set up my my phone now with unlimited data. It will, but I set it up where it will kind of, after I get to a certain level, a certain amount of data per month, it will start throttling me. But because I don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of money for it. But I still, it's a lot of data. So unless I really go through it, it's not going to be a problem. Doing a 30-minute stream once a week is not going to go through that data. So I don't think I'll get throttled. And I should still be able to get 2, 3, 4 megabits per bit rate regularly, but I'm not going to count on that because it's you're never that stable. So I think if I can get 1.5, it'll be good to go. That's the plan. That is the plan. Now, of course, after Jersey, I had to immediately drive back and get to Austin because they'd had some problems with I was going to go ahead and teach recorder and music at the Sherwood Forest summer camp. I'd set that up to teach for the first week there because they needed some help. But the teacher they had for the adult camp, the weekend after the last weekend at Jersey, couldn't make it. So they contacted me while I was in Jersey and were like, please, can you help? So yeah, I said yes because, well, I mean, I thought it might be fun, but also I thought it was a good learning experience. People have been after me to teach recorder at Gen Con and Dragon Con and some of the conventions I do. So I thought, this is a good learning experience to give that a try because honestly, I've never really taught something like that in more than a one-on-one situation. So I wasn't sure how that would go. And I went and the adults really great, had to rush back and jump right into it. Had a great time with that, but then had to jump in and do the kids summer camp. And that was different. How many of you have taught kids before? Because this was new to me. I've never really, maybe a little on a one-on-one situation, but never in a group. I've never really had that experience, and it was different. I was kind of expecting maybe a 40 to 50% variance in how quickly kids learn, the material I provide. And that I was off by an order of magnitude. Yeah. By the end of the week, there was one group, I called them my ADHD group. Well, just to myself, but yeah, they were still on the first bit of music that I'd given them. And they could kind of concentrate on it for 5 minutes, and then they had to do other stuff because they just couldn't focus that well. So that was rough. Then I had another group who were absorbing everything I threw at them, and I ran out of stuff for them to do by far by the last day. I mean, I was just trying to make stuff up that I could. They went through it all. So yeah, it was about a 400 to 500% variance of how quickly they absorbed stuff. Now, if you're curious, the age groups it was like between 8 and I want to say like 16 or so. So yeah, I mean, that certainly changed things a little bit. But even so, it wasn't how quickly they learned didn't necessarily come down to the younger ones struggled more than the older ones. It wasn't quite like that. So yeah, it was very different, very different. Yeah. Well, yes, Brad, and I think that's y'all were very good prep work for working with the kids while doing the Faire live stream. Honestly, it's not wrong, because one of the things I have to do is I have to carry on the show for at least 30 minutes and keep things going and talk the whole time. And you kind of have to do that in a class too. But you also need to know when to back off and just give them an opportunity to work on stuff and not bother them. I also tried to give the kids a chance because everybody learns differently, and I told them all that. And if sometimes I just let them go off and kind of split up and go in different areas and work on it on their own, because kids can be very intimidated people can be very intimidated by learning something new in front of other people. So just kind of getting a little privacy to where they can work on something for a little while, get a level of comfort. And that seemed to help a lot. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience. I will say that. You're not wrong, Kathy. But honestly, most all of them were fine. I didn't have to deal with discipline issues or anything like that. It was all of them wanted to be there. I mean, they chose the classes that they had, so it wasn't like they weren't enjoying it. And at first, I was worried I really wasn't that great of a teacher. I learned a good bit in the first few days. What I really should have done was set it up where I had a different curriculum set up for each class, and used the first class to kind of figure out how to proceed with each class. How it worked was I had 5 classes per day with 5 different groups of kids, and then the same group of 5 each day for 5 days. And they all learned at different rates. And it was kind of interesting. I think some of it was interesting in that I learned that it's all sort of a pack mentality where they're going to play and learn to the level of the people around them. There were some people that I think they could have learned a lot quicker, but they held off because other people in the group were having problems. And then there were others that I think were struggling to learn the stuff, but because a huge majority of the group were picking it up quick, they forced themselves to try harder and raise themselves up to the occasion. So yeah, I mean, you do play to the group you're with, to that level. So I think that was an interesting phenomenon I wasn't expecting, but it makes perfect sense. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience, and I had a good time with all of them. It was we learned recorder, learned a little bit about writing music here and there, tried a few different things. I was really making stuff up as I went to some extent. We'd do a day, and then that night I would go home and work on it and work on new music or figure out what I was going to do the next day based on what happened that day. But I learned a lot, and I think it was a good experience to prepare myself for conventions and teaching recorder there. So definitely interesting. So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on for the past month, and part of the reason why it was so crazy, going to the fair back and forth day after day, Monday through Friday. And then they booked me for a show to perform there for the kids one night, and they picked Monday. So that killed out a week, and it was tough. It was definitely tough. The eternal question. Jan, I don't know. I mean, willing? I mean, if the timing worked out, maybe, but I mean, the truth is, it's not good. It's not as good for my career. I mean, while I think this was a good learning experience for conventions and for other things this year, if I can get a fair and perform there, that's going to be better for my career in the long run. So that's probably what I would do. As rewarding as that was, I mean, but of course, if there aren't as many fairs in the summer, so if that doesn't work out, and Kentucky doesn't seem to be an option next year, I still haven't talked to them, and I need to do that. But I mean, they're going through the fair and finishing it up now, so I wasn't going to mess with it now. But yeah, I mean, if that worked out for next year, sure, but it just depends. I mean, what else I have going on. There's also the concept of, it looks like I'm going to be pretty booked next year by a lot of weekends. I have the potential to book myself for 40 weekends, maybe even more out of the year. And having July off might not be a bad move, if you know what I mean. That could be a good idea just for my sanity. So we'll see. That's kind of the gist, Brittany. If it's not a fair, if there's not a fair, maybe good, but I mean, you're outside in 100-degree temperatures for a full day, and that is rough. It's not quite, I mean, it's not like performing shows, but it's not exactly unlike that either. It's, I'd put it at about 50%, 40% of the energy level I put into a show. But still, over a whole day, that's pretty taxing. So it's a rough outside time. And there's a reason they don't have fairs in the Deep South in July, because it's too oppressive temperature-wise. So I don't know. I mean, that's rough. Right? There is that. But anyway, I wanted to give you all an update to let you know what was going on, and that I was still here. I have not forgotten you, and I missed y'all all terribly, and sorry I've been absent. It was not by choice. Definitely not by choice. But Alicia and I are still around and having some good productive meetings, and we'll get some stuff working. And I think over the next few weeks, try to get that server set up so I have more options, because next month going to be busy, because while I was in New Jersey, the guy who's running the North Dakota Ren Fair talked to me and wanted me to play out there in between Gen Con and Dragon Con. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going up beginning of August. I'm going to be going up to Indianapolis for Gen Con, and then from there driving to Fargo, North Dakota to go to the North Dakota Ren Fair for 3 weekends, and then from there driving to Atlanta and doing Dragon Con the weekend after that. So it's a straight 5-weekend shot, and still working out where I'm going to be staying in North Dakota, but internet-wise, it could be an issue. So I'm trying to get something set up so that we can still do some live streams while I'm there. So that's the hope, anyway. That is the hope. No, I'm not going to be driving straight shot. Don't worry. I didn't. Sorry. You might have assumed that I'm going straight there. Okay. when I say straight, I mean, I'm going to go, and I'm not going to go to a different venue in between. I'm going to take my time over a period of days and stop off on the way. Try to make it like an 8-hour drive each day because, yeah, those 24 plus hour drives, I did that on the way to Jersey, and I was a mess, but I was wide awake, so I just went with it, and it worked out. But it was definitely not something I want to repeat if I can help. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. But anyway, let's jump over to I guess the Faire map and see that. As you can see, no fairs in the deep south, right? I mean, I think the farthest south you get is on the coast of California, which is not quite the same. No. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And yeah, don't let the Alaska thing throw you. That's farther north in case you don't know your geography. But yeah, so let's jump in over here and go through the Faire list because that's always a fun time. Let's see. All right, and look, yay! We've got the laser pointer back. Life is complete again. Yeah. I've missed you. I've missed you so much. So I guess I do have something in common with cats after all. Don't tell Mark. Okay, now starting off, we have the. Let's jump off to the Faire right here. We have the Sterling Renaissance Festival in Sterling, New York. This is the third weekend out of 7, and the theme is the Ale Fest. And then right next to it, we have relatively speaking next to it, the Sylvan Beach Pirates Weekend, because they love pirate festivals in New York. Still haven't figured out why. I asked while I was in Jersey to try to figure that out. Nobody could explain it to me. But yeah, only one weekend, but it's Thursday to Sunday, so starting tomorrow, the Sylvan Beach Pirate Festival there. Then jumping down to, let's go to, Eminence, Kentucky, where some of you are or have been. Let's see, the Kentucky Highland Renaissance Festival, and this is the 7th weekend out of 8, and the theme is Fools, Villains, and Heroes. Then jumping up to Ohio in the northeast corner there, we have the Great Lakes Medieval Fair and Marketplace in Rock Creek, Ohio. This is the 2nd out of 6 weekends, and the theme is Viking. And luckily it's north enough where people might be able to wear a few furs. I'm not quite sure what the temperature forecast is for this weekend, but maybe limited to a fair hat, or a fur hat for fair. And okay, jumping over to Michigan, we have the Mid-Michigan Enchanted Forest Festival in Vassar, Michigan. This is the 1st out of 3 weekends, and the theme is Pillage the Village. Interesting theme choice. Jumping over to Wisconsin, we have Bristol Renaissance Fair in Kenosha. This is the 2nd out of 9 weekends, and the theme is steampunk. Going for the anachronistic but popular theme over there at Bristol. Okay, now sliding over to the west side of the country, we have the Colorado Renaissance Festival still going on in Larkspur, Colorado. This is the 5th out of 8 weekends, and the theme is Pirate Invasion. They must have a close kinship with the New York, apparently. Everybody loves the pirates. Okay, going over to Utah, we have the Utah Midsummer Renaissance Fair in Cedar City, Utah. This is just one weekend only, but it started today, Wednesday to Saturday. So that's, a 4-day weekend there, not including Sunday. Then jumping over to Idaho, in Rigby, Idaho specifically, the Thornshire Renaissance Fair. And this is the 3rd out of 3 weekends over there. Then jumping down to California. All right, we have the Central Coast Renaissance Festival in San Luis Obispo, California. This is just one weekend. So on the coast, so it shouldn't be too hot, luckily. Then jumping down to Canada, the Masters Faire. This is only the second fair that, sorry, Canada to Alaska. I said Canada. Yeah, through Canada to Alaska. That's second fair that Alaska has, and this is the Masters Faire in Juneau, Alaska. This is only going to be on Saturday, but they're the other one being over here in Anchorage, but they're doing it in Juneau. I guess go a little farther south to enjoy some of that hot weather up there. Yeah, something good. Yes. Then, some of you may have noticed a little star up at the very, very top. And this is for the Bashaw Medieval Fair and Artisan Market in Bashaw, Alberta, Canada. And it's so far north, it's actually a little farther north than this. Just a little bit. More like somewhere maybe a little up here, kind of, is, yeah, where it actually is. But that gives you the rough area. And so, yeah. That is just one weekend only this weekend, so something to check out for Canada. So there we go. Nice little fair map to let you know what's coming up. And again, yeah, you notice there nothing in the south, and that's because of those temperatures. I mean, like you said, it's getting up into the low 90s in Kentucky, and that's kind of while that's really hot for there. Yeah, that's still 10 degrees plus cooler than what we're getting down where I am. So that's tough. That is really tough to be outside in that. Anyway, yeah, not a bad haul. I remember when there weren't hardly any fairs in the summer. Where July you'd get maybe 2 or 3. So things have really grown, and they're really pushing a lot of the smaller fairs these days. So it's nice to see, and nice to see that at least they're trying. A lot of them are one weekend fairs, but hey, I'll take it. It's never hurts at all. So yeah, anyway, so I guess this was a successful test. Let me confirm I'm still on YouTube. I actually haven't looked. Hold on. Yeah, still going YouTube. Everything looks strong. Everything looks good. Yeah, stream is there. Yeah, Facebook, all good. Yeah. Yeah, not many watchers, I know, but that's okay. I wasn't expecting many people anyway, because it's an off day, and I really didn't promote it. I wanted to just have something that people could refer back to and check for the fairs. Yeah, just to let you know that I'm trying, and just get all of that update stuff and what's been going on out of the way. Because as each week happened, I realized I've got more stories to tell. How do I fit all this in? And I realized that at this point, if I tried to fit in news and everything in there too, and 7 Reasons, this would be going way over an hour, and it would really become the longest show I've ever done. So trying not to do that, because I care. But anyway, thanks, and we'll keep going. And this was a successful test, so I don't see a reason I won't be back here on Monday for the next week's show. So do stick around for that. I'll put up an event and invite everybody. So look in your Facebook messages for invites, and do join in. And thank you all, as always, because without all of you, it might be an okay life, but wouldn't be a fair life. So take care. Have a good one. I'll see you Monday. Bye.